And my audio is okay, right?
Yes, perfect. Yep.
Okay.
So today is such an exciting day. Welcome to channel 27. If you're new to my channel, I'm Heidi. We have a special guest who I've been waiting to talk to for weeks now after I asked him to come on my channel. I've learned so much from him. I can't even explain it to you. We have Dr. Arjun Pai, who is one of the masters behind Nakshatras. So he is the person that invented, I want to say, you have a team or you invented Cosmic Insights, who is the app I always talk about and say you should get Cosmic Insights if you want to learn the nakshatras up, down, inside out, because the nakshatras are my passion. So when I found this app, can't tell you how excited I was. So thank you so much for coming on my channel, and it is an honor to be speaking with you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Heidi, and namaste to all of you. And I have to say, today is a very special day here in India. It's called Akshaya Tritiya. It's a very auspicious day, and it's one of those best days as per astrology as well, because Akshaya Tritiya means it's a pot filled of gold and overflowing pot, and there is no muhurtas for today. You can do anything today, and the whole day is supposed to be very good. So there are only 3.5 such days, or 3.25 such days in the year, being. So this is a very auspicious day. So I want to wish everybody a very happy Akshay Tritiya. That's
Wow.
the first thing. And thanks for inviting me. And finally, I think it's such an auspicious day here for everybody. It's like whatever you get today is just going to multiply. That's the significance. It's the third Tritiya, and Akshay means it always keeps overflowing, never depleting, never diminishing. That's the significance of today. And thank you, Heidi, for even talking about cosmic insights. And you can't say that I'm an inventor, but I can say that I'm a co-founder. And there's a big team which has been involved for the past almost 1.5 years. We've been working on this app. We've just been adding more and more features. So I have to thank the Cosmic Insights team. We have designers, we have developers, and we have a beautiful team sitting across India and New York. So there's a
Wow.
lot of effort which goes into building up this app. So I have to be thankful to the team as well. But
Yes.
yes, indeed, whenever I wanted to, when my co-founders actually approached me to see if I can do something with them together, and that's when I remembered, there is a thing called as a subhashita in Sanskrit. Subhashita means it's like a epigrammatic poem, okay, in Sanskrit, and which has a very hidden meaning within that. They're like these maxims or advice or fact and truth, like a lesson or a riddle. Su in Sanskrit means good. Bhashita means spoken. So literally, Subhashita means that has been spoken well, or an eloquent saying. And I'll give you a very short thing about a Subhashita, which actually wanted me to start Cosmic Insights with my co-founders. And the Subhashita goes in Sanskrit as Kaka Avayate Kakan. Kaka Avayate Kakan. Yachaka na tu yachakan. Yachaka na tu yachakan. Kaka yachakara madhe varam kako na yachakan. Kaka yachakara madhe varam kako na yachakan. What does it mean? It's a very beautiful thing. As I said, it's a very poetic way of putting things. But the beauty of this Subhashita is Kaka avayate kakan, means when a crow spots food, it invites all other crows. Whereas when a beggar spots food, he wants it all for himself. So it says, Kaka yachakara madhe varam kako na yachakan, which means so between the two, between the crow and the beggar, who is better? The crow is always better. So this knowledge that we have, that we know or what we understand, we have to be like the crow. When we spot knowledge somewhere, we have to call all other crows, come, ka, ka. Sanskrit word for crow is kaka. Kaka means that's what we how it cows, kaka. Invites everybody. But when a beggar spots food, he doesn't. So we human beings, in some sense, when we spot knowledge and when we understand something, we don't invite other people. We just want to have it for ourselves. So that was the reason when I said, let me start sharing this knowledge of, nakshatras, whatever little bit. It's only a tip of the iceberg that we all know. Even I know only that much. There's still more to be discovered. So the more you share, the more information that comes back to you. And I learn from everybody. I learn from my peers. I learn from my clients. I learn from my students. That's how you have to study.
Yeah.
And so thank you for giving me an opportunity to come on Channel 27.
Yes.
ID.
Yes. I know a lot of people have already bought it, so I'm excited to go through, some of the things, because if you don't download and unlock all the things, then you are truly missing out. Because this is where, I've unlocked, I think, everything. So, you can see your karma, where it's stored in the chakras. There's so many different things, because I have a wide variety of viewers and subscribers. They come from conspiracy channels, they come from crypto, some come from astrology world. So I really have a big mix from all over the world. And, and they're all on the same goal, which is finding the truth, I'd say. And I think nakshatras are the key to the universe. I truly do. And I always have since the day I found them. Like when I found nakshatras, I said farewell to all the signs, to all the everything else. And I started reading charts through nakshatras.
That's exactly true for me as well, Heidi. I have been a vagabond in Jyotish or astrology. I've been through all. I started with Western astrology years ago, learning from Linda Goodman and her books. And then finally, started learning about Vastu, numerology, palmistry. Those were my younger days. And then when I came into the Vedic or Jyotisha, what we call it, that's when I started with KP. Then I did, Nadi. Then I did Parashar. I did, Lal Kitab. I did so many other forms, Jaimini as well, for some time. But finally, when I found nakshatras, I think that was where, the buck had to stop. And I was so fascinated with nakshatras. And that made me, for many years now, been just researching and, with a lot of people as well. We have a team that we work with. It's beautiful to work as a part of a team. So I think that is where, as you mentioned, I look at the chart only from a nakshatra perspective now.
Right. And, your team is phenomenal. Like Eve, and I did every single one of them. Like when I heard Eve's voice for the first time, and the first video I heard was the Anuradha Nakshatra one. The one, and just so everybody knows, when you download this site, you can also go to Dr. Arjun Pai has also a YouTube channel, which I'll post that too at the bottom, because you can learn everything about. I've been following him for years since he had this and started really getting into the nakshatras. So, Eve, her voice and how she understands them is on another level. And so many things that I picked up from readings were things that, she definitely learned too from readings, I've noticed, like from the practice. And that's really because I'm not a really good book reader. Like I am all about the practice, putting it into action. So when I asked everybody for years, do you know what time you're born? Do you know what time you're born? Do you know what time you're born? And I practiced through everybody if you walked and met me anywhere, grocery store, restaurant, bar, anywhere, I was asking you, do you know what time you're born? And you're texting your mom, probably trying to figure it out. So yeah, that's how I learned a lot of it. Yeah.
And I have to say about, Eve and my entire team, whether it is Dr. Kanoli Santip Krishnan or Dr. Aditya Togi, there is Bharat Ram, and there's many more, who have come on my channel and have helped me with my research as well, and Eve has been fantastic. I think, you can listen to Eve all day long. She's got a very soothing voice.
Yes.
And I'll be talking, we have a workshop coming up at the Vedic Astrology Conference in Sedona, where me and Eve will be presenting something together. It's a half-day workshop we'll be doing on nakshatras, exclusively on unequal division of nakshatras. So that will be very interesting.
And that will be this year?
This year, yeah.
This November.
November 30th to December 3rd.
I'm going to go this
So
year
that,
for sure. I wanted to go last year, but I couldn't. So I think I'm
yeah.
definitely going to try to go this year.
So it's going to be fun to be around with so many, astrologers, Vedic astrologers, and a lot of ideas to
Yeah.
bouncing off. So
Right.
that's interesting. So I'm looking forward for Sedona this year.
Yeah, I think I've watched every video I think that you have ever been in. So, even with Michael Reed, one day I've been meaning to schedule something with him too, because he's really phenomenal too. And I like when you two talk. Like when you talked about Saturn, there's not one time I haven't just had an abundance of knowledge that comes from any channel that you've gone on and anything. So I really will, and you make sense of it where I can understand it. You don't make it too technical, and you explain the background behind it to really, help you connect to the story and, the spiritual part about it. Because if any spirituality that I have came from what I found with Vedic astrology in India and connecting, I guess it was a past life, who knows, maybe it's what I'm supposed to find now, but it has really changed my life. So that's all I have to say, and I'll let you get moving. I'm going to share my screen real quick. And we're going to talk about a few points, but I'm going to scroll through here. Did you see this? Did you see how much fire I am coming from this? Is that pretty funny?
Yeah, this is the cosmic insights. I think this is a nakshatra elements. So you can actually go and see, what element you have within you and what is more. So I think clearly it shows 46% is fire, isn't it?
And about 8 ether, which totally makes sense. This is so me. Oh, and this in the temperament. So this is nice, right? This means this is good. This balances out my fire, would you say?
Yeah, Deva. See, there is, when we say these things, I think it's sometimes misconstrued when you say Deva, Manushya, and Rakshasa. And when people get more of Rakshasa, they are more worried. Rakshasa actually translates as Raksha. The root word Raksha comes from that. Raksha means protection or protector. And Rakshasas were none but they were the tribes which were protecting, the worshippers of nature, okay, and protectors of the forest and the flora and the fauna, the animals and the birds and all of that. So Rakshasa essentially doesn't mean a demon, because that's how in the Western world the only translation we kind of seem to get, Rakshasa means, oh, demonic. Oh, I've got so much of Rakshasa element. Does it mean I'm a demon? I'm not. It only means that Rakshasa, Deva, and Manushya. Devas were supposed to essentially mean that they were calmer, they were composed, and they are also ready to listen to other people's point of view. And they can be soft, and they speak less, but they speak good. That's what it means generally as a deva or a divine. Then we have Rakshasa. Rakshasa means, it doesn't mean it's demonic. It just means that these people are more talkative. They like to speak a lot. They like to, argue over a good point in a good manner. And they also have some views that they want to share with other people. So they're opinionated. So none of these things would even say that you're demonic or there's a demon within you. So that is the thing, and they might be sometimes very harsh with the way they speak. So that is how you would define, and especially the Deva, Manushya, and Rakshasa are components that you use in marriage matching. In the Nakshatra thing, it's called a Ashtakuta method, which is a 8-point matching method which was used in India, which has 36 points, and there are 8 steps in it. And one of them is this temperament, is to see the temperament. You wouldn't want a Deva and a Rakshasa to come together. So that, out of 36 points, 15 points come from the Rashi-based system, which is the zodiac signs, and 21 points comes from the Nakshatra-based system. So this is one of them, of the 21 points that you have.
So like an Aslesha moon and a Revati moon don't work together.
Exactly.
Right.
So there are many levels that you have to see. There is yoni as well, yoni compatibility, which is sexual compatibility. Yoni is the reproductive organ. So based on that, there is compatibility. There is a compatibility based on this. The most important compatibility in that system is called Nadi compatibility. Nadi means the pulse, Madhya Nadi, Antya Nadi. And so there are three types of nadis. You don't want to have two people who are marrying who have the same nadi. Nadi means pulse, which means your offsprings will also have the same sort of tendencies. You're trying to amplify if you are Madhya Nadi and somebody else also, your partner is also a Madhya Nadi. So obviously your offsprings will also have the tendency to get a Madhya Nadi, which means, so that's why you need to mix and match. And
Right.
especially marriage matching was done not only from a perspective of mental compatibility, sexual compatibility, temperament, but also with a view on having an offspring and a healthy offspring. That was the whole thing.
Well, don't you think that in India there's a lot of that where there's not so much as much of the connection that's, some of the other points that I find that are missing. I mean, because I think sometimes when you match like the suns together and the other, it's more than just the moon. I've noticed, like, I can tell you that certain people that I have high moons with and nothing else, it's a mess.
It
I
can
mean,
happen. Yes, yes, absolutely. And I don't want to say this is a foolproof method because that usually uses the moon in making a matching.
mm-hmm,
Okay, it's a temperament you see, and you
yeah,
say it's a karmic bondage that you're looking at between two independent. But I think you have to use the system even with moon, ascendant, and other whatever planets are stronger in the chart, or whatever planets are ruling during the that time when you're going to get married. So these are only some. It can only help you, but it can't ensure that your life is going to be perfect. There's always going to be some imperfections.
yeah. So, okay, then the next point I wanted to discuss, I think is an amazing thing, is the destiny point. And it is interesting because my destiny point's in my 12th house in Scorpio, or in Libra in Swati. And it's funny because that is when my Saturn return was exactly when I got into astrology and found Indians and sold homes to Indians, learned Vatsu, learned all that. That's when all this went down. So it's quite interesting that that's where I'm at now. I went through a lot of hardships, don't get me wrong. But that's it kind of, in my opinion, this is my destiny. And I guess I did find it in the 12th house. So,
See, it's very interesting, Heidi, when you look at this, what is the origin of this destiny point? It comes from an old classic called as Chandrakala Nadi, Chandrakala Nadi. Kala means time, Chandra means moon. So it is a text essentially about division of the zodiac, and then looking at certain mathematical points. So this point, which was later called as Bregu Bindu, but before it was also termed as Patel Bindu. The person who actually popularized this and who did extensive research, and his name was Chandubai Patel or C.S. Patel. So he actually this has always been there in the text, but he was the one who actually took it and he started experimenting with this point. It's just a mathematical point between the between Rahu and the moon.
okay.
Okay, it's a midpoint between Rahu and the moon. It's not the other way around. It's not the midpoint between moon and Rahu. I'm just trying to differentiate for people to know is always from wherever Rahu is and wherever moon is. So Rahu itself is a mathematical point.
Right.
It's a shadow planet, as we call Chaya Graha. And this point will actually, if you go down, what we have done in Cosmic Insights, and this, I don't think any other software which is available commercially in the market is providing this. What we've done is we are given, if you scroll down, you can see all the upcoming dates, when would the transit happen?
Yes.
So you can actually go and validate from the past as well. What were the dates when this was passing through your
Right.
fortune? And it's not only for the moon, you can go and change it for the different planets. So moon will show you over the 27 days, it should have gone through the destiny point. But there would be major planets, whenever Saturn, Jupiter, Rahu, Ketu, when these planets go over the fortune, the destiny point, okay, that gives you some significant events in your life.
Yeah.
usually for the betterment. That's what I've seen.
It is true. And I can attest to this, that I went through all these dates and I went, yeah, whether it was, but sometimes it was an ending, like a divorce, like, but
Mm.
look, for me, and if you think about it, it's still my 12th house. So it is ending. So to a
Yeah.
degree. So with, for me, learning, I mean, this was spot on. I mean, every date was like spot on. With some of it was bad, but it was a really crazy
Transition. Yeah.
transformation, but
Yeah.
for the better, because I wouldn't be here now doing what I'm doing. So
I know. So I think this is very fascinating for many of them. And when you go deeper into this, for example, in your own chart, Heidi, you're in Swati Nakshatra. Swati means independence, you know, and Swati is also about learning. It's connected to Saraswati, the goddess of learning and knowledge. Okay, and your quest always has been, whenever you have gone through a Saturn, you said that's when it got you interested in astrology. You've gone deeper into it, and it's in the third pada, your destiny point. That also has a meaning. Okay, because what you have to know is, like you have dharma, artha, kama. Kama is the element which is connected to the third, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Those are the four quarters of every nakshatra. So it is in the kama pada. Okay, but also if you want to look at the same divisions, you can also say it can be body, mind, soul, and prana. Those are the four parts. So when it's falling in the soul and in the karma, it's actually showing you that somewhere your soul's purpose is being achieved when certain heavy or fast, slow moving planets like Saturn or Jupiter. Now I think Jupiter will be going over it. It's going to retrograde. It's going to come back. So it's going to be a very important transit period for you. A lot of transformations, a lot of movement,
yeah,
a lot of goodness. And it's in the 12th house. It's about self-realization as well.
yeah.
The 12th house is connected to your past life. They say your 12th house was your lagna or your ascendant of your past life. Make your ascendant as make the 12th house as your ascendant and read your same chart. It can actually give you some clues about your past life.
Wow, that, you know what? That makes so so much sense too. That mean, oh my gosh, wow.
Can you
I've
actually
never,
see? You
yeah,
can see some of the things, and also look at your 6th house.
right.
6th house is the key to unlocking your entire chart, because that is called as the prarabdha karma. That's the prarabdha. There's nothing you can do about it. This is, it's a Nadi principle which I learned from Professor Ravi Sundaramji. And he speaks very highly about this. Wherever the 6th lord, why is 6th house very, very important, especially in Jyotisha or in Vedic astrology? Because it's both a dusthana, which means it's a house which 6th house is not considered to be good, but it's also an upachaya house.
Which improves.
Upachaya means it's a growth house. It keeps growing. So 6th house is where you see all your challenges, you see your illnesses, you see your debts, you see everything. But that is a house which you keep nourishing and keeps improving, and it shows you growth. And why is 6th house very important? Because 6th house is 10th from your 9th house. 9th house is your past. 1st house is yourself, and 5th house is your future. So your future is your children, which is seen from the 5th house, your present, and your father or your ancestors, your mother, all of them are your past, which is 9. So anything which was left pending from your past has to come as a karma in this life. And whatever is left in the past, which is the 9th house, the karma of that is going to the 10th from it. And that is the 6th house.
My
10th
sixth lord
house
is my
from,
first.
yeah. So
So that,
6th, yeah, it's showing you some clues. It will give you definitely some clues.
yeah, means day-to-day life. My life is all about karma. I
Yeah.
always did some interesting things, I always say. And but I've embraced it and I just keep on trucking. And I think that's what a Scorpio ascendant can do. I do
Yes.
feel like the thing about me, I feel like K2 to a degree balances, I know it sounds crazy, but balances me out. I really do, because I learned so much through relationships. I've noticed a lot of people that have K2 in the first, like when they kind of were loners at first. Well, no, I was somebody that just jumped into being in relationships with everybody and anything I could think of. And then because I was scared to be alone. And then it all switched during that Saturn return, boom, change. I mean, and it's been solo ever since and loving it. Okay. So I've dated a few people, but it's really made me know who I was, because I was trying to live through all these other people, trying to figure out who I was. So
yeah, you're jumping between Rahu and Ketu, your first and the seventh houses, That's the whole thing. That's the journey that you see. Oh, and this is a fantastic thing that I want people to know. It's called a Photos Insight extension. So basically this is a feature that we have added in Cosmic Insights, is linking all the photos and the time when the photos were taken, and they can give you some greater clues. And we have been observing this. This is fantastic. Based on the transits that are happening. Yeah. There are certain periods, certain hora. Hora means the time period, certain hora, certain har, which is ruled by a certain planet. And imagine you're taking more pictures, and you imagine you're with the teacher and taking more pictures. It will be surprising to find that it would be Jupiter hora was operating most of the time. Imagine you're with somebody that you love, and so it could be Venus hora. Maybe you're trying to do a negotiation and you're taking a picture at a business meeting. It could be Mercury hora. So it's very, we're tagging these photographs and people. So imagine that you are taking a photo and you're doubtful about, what is my relationship? It's confusing with this person that I've been, dating for so long, and I'm not able to understand. Yeah. Look at all the pictures that you've taken with that person, and what hora was operating, what transits were operating. Yeah, that should give you some greater clues of what is happening in your chart, and what is your relationship with that individual, because you tend to meet people at a particular hora.
That's very true. And that, I'll say, even if you use it for people, because if you meet somebody, take pictures with them, and like if it's somebody new or something, even in the workforce,
exactly.
Like I know the days I'm going to sell a house with Maga. And
Maga, yes, definitely, I've seen that.
Second house, 10th house, the days I'm selling a home, or when the moon is with Jupiter, it's a steal. I mean, it's a no-brainer. When the moon is in those two nakshatras, I guarantee you I sell a house that particular month.
Maga, I know. Which was the other one that you have observed?
Mula.
And Mula, okay.
Jupiter's in my second.
Right. Okay.
But then, and even if not, it's the Lagna will be in those nakshatras in the transits.
Transits, yeah. So very true. Very true. Excellent, yeah. Excellent.
Okay, so then my fortune point is, which is interesting to me, in the 8th house in the nakshatra of Ardra. So, and we were talking about this earlier, that it has to do with the Persian points and how this is calculated. So in the Varshapal chart, right, this is what this is pulling from.
Absolutely. And I think this is another very important point. It comes from, it's an Arabic thing, and it's an imaginary point in the horoscope calculated mathematically. And basically when you see this pars fortuna, and the symbol of pars fortuna is a cross inside a circle. So it is kind of representing, it's nothing but pars fortuna shows the point of integration between the longitudes of the sun, moon, and the ascendant. So these are 3 parts, and that's what it's showing. Maybe the circle is showing you what you are, and it's the intersection point is actually showing you the point where your fortunes are unlocked. Okay, and this has it's a very simple calculation that anybody can do it mentally as well. For all those people who are born during the day birth, you always have to add your ascendant with your moon, the longitudes. I'm talking about the longitudes. Okay, add the longitudes of your ascendant with the longitude of your moon and subtract it from the longitude of the sun. That's for day birth. And for night birth, it is ascendant, longitude of the ascendant, longitude of the sun, and subtract that from longitude of the moon. As simple as that. So it should give you a mathematical point precisely, which gives you, what are the time periods. Again, we have listed down in this app, all the past dates that you can see, and you can just go and validate what happened on those days. and then you see all the upcoming days as well. And you can also go and see different planets moving through it. It's either the moon or the sun
Mars.
or
I have all this. Yeah. So it goes,
yeah,
it does all of them. And that's
yeah,
the best thing is you can, and what I even do is go to the transits in Kala. That's the software that I use typically.
yeah.
So
Hala is a great software. Yeah,
yeah. And because I think it's just so detailed with the transits. It's like, cause you watch it real time and it's just,
yeah,
it's the best for transits in my opinion. But what I do is I will take that and I will go back to different dates and I have everything noted. When I was studying, unfortunately learned everything about myself, the worst and the best parts, So you go crazy learning astrology, I think sometimes, especially with my ascendant. So I learned so much through that, but I can go back and I have all this like tracked, like certain days that I wrote houses down, that I sold houses. So I went back and did all this and it's definitely spot on.
and Heidi, I've also have some of my clients who come from various backgrounds. People, hedge fund managers. People who are writing algorithms for the financial services industry, and they've been quite inquisitive about nakshatras and all these concepts. And they have been telling me some fascinating things that I had a software algorithm developer for financial software for hedge fund managers and for financial trading platforms. And he says nakshatras work very, very well. So he just wanted to pick my brains to see how things are. And I gave him certain pointers as well that he can use in his software that he's building up. And he says it really, really works. It's
Yeah.
more accurate than actually just looking at saying, oh, Mars and Saturn are together. But he says what happens exactly at the point and which nakshatra it is happening and what is the direction of the nakshatra, what are the traits of the nakshatra, what is the mythology. He says it plays very well. And he knows he can predict, and especially says whenever Mercury goes retrograde, he's seen that the stock markets or the financial services industry and everything just becomes very slow and things don't pick up.
Yeah, it's so
And
true.
so
For me,
it's very amazing to see that these correlations that we're seeing. I think more people coming and doing more research work, and like you've been sharing, Maga and Mula. But that's specifically you say it's for you, but I think Maga is for most of the people. I see
for
in
real estate,
Prashna,
ton of
yeah,
real
real estate. Yes,
Maga is all real
Maga
estate,
is real estate. It's a royal throne
hands
room.
down. Yeah,
Yeah, undoubtedly. Whenever in Prashna, if somebody is asking, and when I put a Prashna, which is a chart for timing of events, and if ascendant is coming in Maga, I most certainly will ask them the first question: is it anything related to property that you want to discuss? And I've seen at least 7 or 8 times it has always been correct out of 10.
yeah, and
Maga very strongly shows
also I've
real estate.
noticed sometimes is Scorpio. Just it depends. I'd say sometimes Anurata, sometimes Jace, the way more developers, like for real estate developers, and I've noticed that for Maga as well. But Purnavasu is new home sales. I don't
Yes,
new
absolutely.
homes built because that's the field that I sell. I sell new construction. So every person besides me has planets in Purnavasu. Like my partners, the CEOs, and even in the lending, in a lot of people that did mortgages, ton of
Mm,
Virgos though too, ton of so I've noticed different nakshatras that pan out with these careers. Like it's just amazing. I mean, just fascinating. It never fails.
absolutely. And Punarvasu, you're absolutely right with new homes. I've seen even refurbished homes, homes that were redone or reconstruction or
Yeah.
renovation. All of them have to do with, and that's one of the symbols of Punarvasu is a home.
Yep.
Okay, it's a new home actually. So
See, that's and everybody in new home sales. It's like I can't even tell you everybody. So
it's fascinating. Okay, so you want to talk about,
that to talk about
even this, yeah,
yeah, because
Brahma Vishnu. Yeah.
the first time I ever heard a Shiva chant, I'm going to just be honest, I was in tears. Knew nothing about it and just heard it on like my Indian Vibes channel. Okay, the I lost like something happened to me spiritually, like where I was in tears. I was really, and somebody told me that I have Parvati energy. Two astrologers told me that, like people from India too, just not just I don't know, but it just
Do you
really
have anything in Mragashira in your chart?
no. Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
I just wanted to see because that's, or Rohini as well. Anything in Rohini? Nothing.
No.
In
That's
your divisional charts, maybe you need to
I do
dig
in
into
my
your division.
divisionals. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Divisional charts.
certain divisions
A lot of that.
you can see in the D9 or D12 and D60. But I think, this is the most important concept that I have researched on with many astrologers. I've discussed this, the Trimurti principle. And just on the basis of this Trimurti or the Trinity is where I came of dividing the zodiac into 9 parts rather than 12 parts. And that's what people have called it the Pai Paddhati. And it's a very simple concept is about Trinity. And when you look at this, how do you use this Trinity and principle? And when I was in Sedona just last year, and we had a huge gathering of all of them sitting and discussing, and there was, Ernst William was also discussing. There was Vic Dikara, there was Eve, and all of them. Kapil was around, and Kapil was. So we were hanging around, and then we came across this concept, and Ernest had a beautiful way of saying how you use this Trinity principle. So he gave analogy. I heard about this analogy that he gave many years back, but he again was trying to reiterate on that. Ernst, he said, imagine that you have more nakshatras in a Brahma, right? Type. So he gave an analogy of saying, let's imagine there is a civilian war which is happening, and a lot of casualties are happening, a lot of casualties are coming down, and you're a doctor, you're a surgeon, and you have people who are shot in the arm or who are shot in the leg, and they're coming on your table as a doctor, as a surgeon. So you have a choice because the poison is spread in the leg where he was shot. So imagine that if you are a Brahma type, what would you do? If you're a Vishnu type, what would you do? And if you're a Shiva type, what you would do? Imagine you have more planets in a Shiva type. So the immediate tendency is I want to save this person in any way, but I'm okay to amputate his leg
I was
because the
gonna say.
poison has spread.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the poison is spread, and I'm ready to amputate his leg, but I want to save this individual. That is the Shiva type.
Yeah.
A Vishnu type would always think, I want to see how I can save this person, but also keep the leg because it's about maintenance, it's about preservation.
Yeah.
And a Brahma type will always see, how can I use different techniques, something innovative, something creative? Can I create something that I can help them? Can I give him a prostate leg or something? And so that he can still feel. So those are different ways of how people would look at these concepts. It's a beautiful way of putting it.
That is.
So it doesn't mean to say that a Shiva type is bad because he is going to amputate the leg, because statistically, maybe when you do an analysis with a Vishnu type surgeon and you see a Shiva type surgeon, a Shiva type surgeon might have more people who have survived and they have their legs amputated, and maybe a Vishnu type would have lesser number of people who have survived, but they have their legs intact.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very beautiful way. It's a beautiful way of putting it. So I love the whole thing. Brahma is a creative spirit. It's a creative aspect of the spirit.
Yeah.
And that's the whole concept, of wanting to dispel the Maya and the ignorance, and bringing more light and solid things in your life. It's like the mother and the father. It's about creative, and Vishnu is more about preservation and maintenance.
Yeah.
The same thing, you can use the analogy. I have used this analogy in many contexts of saying, imagine you are the CEO of a company and you realize that you're not been doing so well. Imagine if you're a Shiva type, what would you do? You just say, okay, lay off, pink slips to everybody. Let's lay off people. I want to save my company. But what would the Vishnu type CEO try to do? He would try to say, okay, I'm going to cut cost. Okay, and I'm just going to see that there should be no job losses, because these are the people who have stood by me through the thick and thin. So I want to save their jobs, but at the same time, I would go and request them, can you take a pay cut or something, but I want to keep their jobs. A Brahma type will say, okay, if our department and this is not doing well, let us see what other departments we can improve the sales, or we can bring more money so we can, create new streams of income.
Amazing. I mean, that's pretty spot on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what about this? I think this is
Oh, yeah, this is a beautiful concept, and I think a lot of things are based on this concept of dividing the nakshatras into 7 categories. Okay,
Mhm.
now here we have put it in Sanskrit words, but let me translate that for you. Ugra means fierce nakshatras. Okay, there are certain nakshatras. Whenever you have planets moving through them, they can give you a sense of the disposition of the planet would be a little bit more fiery or fierce. That's the flavor that the planet is actually getting. See, what are nakshatras? These are only energy portals, right? And what is they are passive, but what is actually activating them is the dynamism of the planets which are moving over them, because they are in the heavens. That's why it's called Swargaloka, and that's why they are all associated with the deities. And then you have these planets which are moving, and that planets, whenever they're moving, they're actually absorbing. They're called as grahas. They're not called as planets. Planets are just stellar objects, but these you call them grahas. Graha means Caesar, something which grabs something. What does it grab? It grabs the Shakti, the energy, the transmission. These are power generation centers, nakshatras. As a power has to transmit, has to channel, you need to have a transmission channel, distribution channel. These grahas actually work as Caesars, and then they transmit the energy by superimposing with their own traits. Okay, so this disposition actually shows you how they are going to transmit that with their own flavor and their own seasoning into the energy of the nakshatra, but also how they would behave. So Ugra nakshatras are usually chosen for doing activities which would need a little bit of fierceness. For example, if you want to file for a divorce, okay, so you choose nakshatras which are Ugra,
Mhm.
right? All the Purva, Bharani, Magha, and all the Purva nakshatras, Purva Falguni, Purvashada, Purva Bhadrapada. These are 5 nakshatras which are called as Ugra. Then we come to Dhruva nakshatras. Dhruva means stable, fixed, permanent. Okay, Dhruva nakshatras are usually chosen because they're very good for commencing something that you need to see it build slowly and be stable. So, for example, building a house, or starting a construction, or laying the foundation,
Right.
or moving into a new home,
Mhm.
okay, or making a long-term investment in a stock market because you want to invest and let it grow. So permanent nakshatras are pretty good for that. Which are the permanent nakshatras? Rohini and all the Uttara nakshatras. Uttara Falguni, Uttara Shada, Uttara Bhadrapada.
Mhm.
These are all called as Thira nakshatras or Dhruva nakshatras. Then you have Chara nakshatras, which is movable. Now, if you want to buy a car, people who want to buy a car, or get a pet home, then always choose when the moon is transiting Chara nakshatras. It's a good time to buy a pet, get a pet, because pets are, they're movable. Car is movable. So which are the movable nakshatras that you want to look at? They are Punarvasu, Swati, Shravana, Dhanishta, Shatabhishak.
And I bought a car in Swati.
Swati, exactly. And that's was your destiny point as well, isn't it?
Yes. Uh-huh.
That's where your destiny point is.
And the day that
So,
I contacted somebody about buying a different car, I had it in my
mm,
notes because in the notes, like when you look now, you have the search. Is it favorable to buy a car?
yeah,
I looked on the same day. It was a
wow,
Swati day. Isn't that nuts?
it's crazy
Yeah.
sometimes. And
Mhm.
did you do it knowingly, or it was just
No,
that you just
it
bought
just
it?
I just did.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and it sometimes works so brilliantly. These things when you go deeper into it. So
Mhm.
Punarvasu is a good day for doing movement and even sales. I feel Punarvasu is a good day for doing property sales. Then Swati, for travel, if you want to go on air travel, all the Shatabishak and Swati. If you look all the Rahu ruled nakshatras in Vimshotri Dasha system, which is Swati and Shatabishak, they're all connected to air travel as well, transportation, movement. You want to go on a holiday, look at Chara Nakshatra. Especially the beauty is 3 nakshatras in a line are Chara. Swati, Dhanishta and Shatabishak. Okay. Then we come to Lagu and Shipra. Lagu means light, lightweight. Shipra means swift, quick, And these nakshatras are very good when you want to start administering medicines. You want to quickly heal somebody, then start taking medicines when, when if there is something that you want to start taking medication for, always start in a Shipra or Lagu because you quickly get healed. Which are and also about swiftness, even transportation can be used, or you want to actually send a CV, so you want to get a job very quickly, send it when, it is Shipra or Lagu. Or when you want to ask for a raise, from your boss, also use this, you can quickly get probably a raise. Right? Yeah. So what are those nakshatras which are Shipra and Lagu? Ashwini. So Ashwini Nakshatra I see is very good, especially when you want to administer medications. You want to start and quickly heal yourself, start medication in Ashwini because they are the celestial physicians, they're the healers as well. Ashwini Nakshatra. Pushya is another Shipra and Lagu. Hasta is another Shipra and Lagu. And then finally, Abhijit is also called. Abhijit is a 28 nakshatra. It's an intercalary nakshatra. It actually falls in the 4th pada, the 4th quarter of Uttarashada, and some part, 1/15 of Shravana Nakshatra. A very small portion goes into the 1st pada of Shravana.
Abhijit. You use that then? You use that nakshatra?
Yes, I definitely use that nakshatra. Maybe not in my day-to-day thing, but whenever moon is going through Uttarashada, I have used Uttarashada very extensively, and this is a thing I want to share with all of your viewers. Use Uttarashada whenever you want to commence something new. Uttarashada is connected to invincible victory, ultimate victory, and final victory. And final, being triumphant, ultimate. So that is very good. And Uttarashada is also connected to Ganesha. Ganesha is the remover of obstacles. And any initiation and anything new beginnings. Always new beginnings can start with Uttarashada. It's a good nakshatra, and the deity is Vishwadevatas, which is the universal gods. Multi-skilled people. You find a lot of multi-skilled people with Uttarashada, and it's a Dhruva nakshatra. Let me tell you, it's a permanent nakshatra. So you start something, you always ensure that there will be abundance, and you'll always find success.
So there's a big correlation with cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and some of the different cryptos with that nakshatra. So
I'm sure they have sustained themselves, and that might be Uttarashada. The beauty of Uttarashada is there are also certain points. That is, one is Rohini Nakshatra, 2nd pada, okay, and then Uttarashada, 2nd pada, and 1st pada. They are they are very, very auspicious. Especially the 1st pada is called Pushkara Navamsha and Vargottamsha, which means Pushkara Navamsha means Pushkara means whenever moon is transiting there or any planets are falling there in your natal chart, Pushkara is like a lotus. The lotus blossoms in muddy waters, and it is so beautiful to look at. So it's like a blue lotus which is blossoming, and blue lotus is very rare to find. It blossoms only on a full moon night. Okay, it's a reaction, and it's so beautiful to look at in the full moon night. So blue lotus, your life will be like a blue lotus. It will start blossoming. And it takes very little sustenance, simple sustenance, because from the mud, it just takes sustenance from the mud. The blue lotus. That's what it's called, Pushkara. Vargottama. Vargottama means it is enhancing the value, because the planet which is sitting there, it goes into the same zodiac sign even in the divisional charts. Okay.
So I have
So you can see that. That's very, very powerful. We have to say Vargottama doesn't mean only with Navamsha. This is a concept where everybody thinks the D9 chart, the 9th divisional chart, wherever it goes, it becomes Vargottama. It can be Vargottama even with your D10 chart, But then what are the areas of your life you're seeing? That is with respect to your career, D10, the Shamsha. Okay. So then we have Tikshna Nakshatras, Tikshna Dharuna, which means bitter and fierce. All those activities that you want to, you want to break a relationship, you want to, part ways, and maybe bitterness is there. Then you take these nakshatras for doing those activities when moon is transiting. What are Tikshna Nakshatras? The Tikshna Nakshatras are, you have Ardra, you have Ashlesha, you have Jeshta, and you have Mula. They're called as Tikshna Nakshatras.
Yeah.
Okay? But they have a different meaning as well. Then you see, you have many planets in Mradhu Nakshatra. Mradhu means soft, tender. Okay, so these are very good for starting an education. You want to learn music, you want to learn, dancing, you want to take some art forms, you want to you want to learn Jyotish, whatever. All these things are very good when it's Mradhu, it's soft. That means you absorb things very easily.
Yes.
What are Mradhu Nakshatras? You have Mragashira is Mradhu, okay, Punarvasu, Revati, and Anuradha. These are nakshatras which are, Mradhu nakshatras. Then you have the last thing is called Mishra. There are only two nakshatras which are Mishra. Mishra means mixed. Mixed results. They can be sharp, they can be soft. Because both these nakshatras which I'm saying, they're connected to Kritika and Vishaka. These are the two nakshatras. They call Mishra.
Yeah.
And both of them have Agni in them. Agni is fire. Yeah. Fire, the good fire can actually cook your food and make it very nourishing. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the softer side of the fire. The sharper side of the fire is fire can run amok and burn down things. So that is Mishra. So it can give you some critical nature sometimes, but it can also be very soft. It's also about the digestive fire. The same fire can, digest the food, and say the same fire can create havoc.
Yeah.
That's Mishra.
Well, and I have Rahu and Kritika.
Rahu and Kritika. That's the 8% which is coming from there, I guess.
Yeah. Well, okay, and I want to say this too. I love this. This is one of my favorite things because I will look at things throughout the day, and look at the transits through stuff like this, happiness, and people that I've dated. I went back with the past, with the nakshatras to see which ones brought these traits up. And my gosh, was this spot on. Especially then I would go to my DK and look at that, and then look at that planet. It's very
Dharakaraka. Yeah.
And then go and put that in here, and which is Mercury. So I went this and through Mercury, and I just kind of did, and this was another spot on.
This is a beautiful system. This is a beautiful system. It's called a Navatara system, and it works so brilliantly. And we have a crow which is carving. When I just said beautiful system, it just was carving here. It's an omen.
Yep.
It's saying yes. That's the only system you actually need. And this is the system on the basis of which nakshatras were used in the traditional times that we believe, because there was no Rashi-based system initially. It was just purely nakshatras. How do you use nakshatras without any zodiac signs and without any houses? And this was the system which was used. It's a beautiful system, and you see, and there is a key here as well. And I've seen this work brilliantly, and I use it in my predictive techniques that I use. One of the predictive techniques I use is Tribhagi system. And in the Tribhagi, also I use this. For example, look at all the Mahadashas. Vimshotri Mahadasha is what I take. Vimshotri is 120-year cycle. And that 120-year cycle, when you divide it, like Professor Ravi Sundaram says, when you divide it into 3 parts, it's 40 degrees each. Right? And the 40 degrees, if you divide it again into 3 parts, that is your 3 degrees, 20 minutes. So every 40 degrees, if any planets are falling at 40 degrees apart, they are falling in the same Navamsha. They're falling in the same house. They're falling in the same zodiac sign. So 40 is that. And this concept, what I'm saying, the Nadi Nakshatras and the concept here, I've seen they work brilliantly. Because what you have to understand, this is based on the concept of only 9 nakshatras, and there are 3 sets of 9 nakshatras.
Yeah.
Janma, Anujanma, Trijanma. From your natal moon, see, always Navatara is always from the natal moon, but you can also use other things, it will work brilliantly. I'm not saying. Traditionally, when you look at the Navatara system, you see it from the moon. That's why it's called Janma Nakshatra. We say in India, what is your Janma Nakshatra? That's the first thing a priest will ask whenever you go for doing any rituals. They say, okay, what is your Janma Nakshatra? What is your Gotra? What is your name? These are only 3 questions he asks. What is your name? What is your Janma Nakshatra? What is your Gotra? Gotra means your lineage. What is your race? Because when he starts making a prarthana means an invocation or a prayer to the god. He's always saying, please give all the merit of this fire ritual, I'm doing it, to this person, because he becomes the yajaman. So Janma, Anujanma, Trijanma. Janma means the first 9 nakshatras from your natal moon is called Janma nakshatras. Okay, the next set of 9 nakshatras. So always remember that it's 360 years of life cycle that we're looking in your chart. 360 years. 120 years, Vimshottari Dasha, for the Janma Nakshatras. 120 years again for the future birth, that is called Anujanma, which is the next set of 9 nakshatras after the first set of 9 nakshatras from the moon. And Trijanma, which is your past, which falls behind you. The last set of 9 nakshatras, which fold up behind you.
And that is in your, that's this, right? Isn't this the group 1, group 2, group 3?
Yes.
Okay.
This is exactly what I'm...
I just put it in my own chart. So, and I put it to where I can understand it a little better.
Wow, this is a beautiful way that you have depicted. I'm seeing that Agni, earth, fire, and you've given some... This is a beautiful system. But I think you should...
This is
you
wrong.
should code this. You should code this into some form so people can use this and they can actually see this in this manner.
Yeah.
I like the way you put the cycles, you put all of that. It's a beautiful way of depicting.
Yeah, because the one that Kapil did on his thing was very hard for me to... I took that, printed out all those slides and made my own. And I can't, sometimes it's too... I need it simple, color-coded.
Simple, yes.
Yes, everything has to be colors with me for some reason. Yeah, but this works brilliantly, this system. And it makes sense.
Yeah. And that is you can see the lineage as well, and you can see so many things. Karma, the 10th nakshatra is always the karma, remember that. So 10th nakshatra is always the same nakshatra. For example, remember, if suppose you have moon in Magha nakshatra, okay? Your karma of that moon is always Mula Nakshatra, which is the 10th nakshatra from Magha.
Right.
Remember, the trine principle always works brilliantly, and that's why Vimshottari is more accepted today than any other forms of nakshatra dashas. There are so many nakshatra dashas, and with nakshatra dashas, the planetary association with that planet is going to change. They're not rulership. Because with Vamshottari, you have a system, right? When you go to Ashtottari, it's a different system then.
Right.
Which means Ashwini is not associated with Ketu. It could be Venus. I don't remember. Okay, I don't follow.
That sounds like it. That kind of makes sense. I don't feel as Sweeney is so much connected to... Now, Mula, absolutely. Maga, all day long. But I've not noticed that with a Sweeney, not that much. I really haven't.
See, this is something that I have been researching, and I'll tell you my interpretation. This is a very key interpretation of Gandantas. Because this is one concept that, people have always been afraid of. Oh, my planets are in Gandanta. What is going to happen? Gandanta means a spiritual knot. Especially when, digrically they're falling at this point between a watery sign and a fiery sign.
Okay.
That's when it's called a Gandanta. The end of a watery sign and the beginning of a fiery sign is called the Gandanta zone. And this is for viewers, because you have viewers from, people coming from all. And Gandanta is a spiritual knot that you need to untie. Imagine that you have a rope and you tie a knot in between, and you want to pass a very thin ring through that. When it comes to the knot, the ring doesn't pass through it. It's blocked. And what you need to do if the ring has to pass through it, you have to untie the knot.
Yep.
So that again the ring can pass through it. That's a Gandanta. Okay, the concept of Gandanta, I'll explain it to you within 30 seconds. There are three types of Gandantas. Swagandanta, which is happening between Revati Nakshatra and Ashwini Nakshatra, or from between Pisces and Aries in the sidereal zodiac system, right? That is called Swagandanta. Why? Because there is a link between the first house and the 12th house. Swa means you, self. Then there is Matrigandanta. Matrigandanta means that is happening between the 4th house of mother and 5th house, which is Cancer and Leo in the sidereal side, or between Ashlesha and Maga. Okay, that's called Matrigandanta, which is, and then finally Pitrigandanta, which is happening between the 8th and the 9th house. Right? That's the father. 9th house is father. 4th house is mother. That's why it's called Pitri. Pitri means father. So that is happening between, Jyeshtha and Mula, or between Scorpio and Sagittarius. Now, all of them have given a different way of saying how to look at Gandantas and why the Pitri Gandanta is supposed to be the most intense. Generally, people consider any planet sitting very close, at 29 degrees or of Jyeshtha, or 29 degrees of Scorpio in Jyeshtha 4th Pada. That's very tricky. And maybe the first degrees of Mula, it can be tricky. But why is that the Pitri Gandanta is very intense? Is you need to know the motion of the planet. Heidi. Because you have to know the nakshatras and their motion and their mouth, which means there are three types of mouths for a nakshatra. They're called Urdhvamukha, which means facing upwards. The nakshatra is facing upwards. Triyangamukha, level, facing forward. And Adhomukha, facing downwards. So if a moon is transiting, so Pitri Gandanta, so you have to know a planet is moving. Always remember how moon is going to behave based on the face of the nakshatra. Okay, Revati is a level nakshatra or Triyangamukha. So if moon is passing through, it's passing through this way. And when it comes to Ashwini, it's again level. So the moon doesn't feel too much of a intensity, or any planet which is moving around that is level. So it is not difficult. But when you come into Ashlesha and Magha, that zone, both are downward facing, Adhomukha. So it's like a fall, it's like a waterfall for the planet. So it's falling down, as though, symbolically, you're thinking about it. But the whole thing, the concept is still okay because it's moving down in Ashlesha, and with Magha, it's still moving down, right? That's Adhomukha. But the thing is, when you come into Jyeshtha and Mula, the Gandanta, Jyeshtha is level and Mula is downwards. So the planet always in that point, it is like you're at the tip of the waterfall and you're just about to free fall. That's why it is very intense, that point. Whenever heavy planets, Saturn just moved from Jyeshtha to Mula, a lot of transformation is happening all over the world in people's life. You can see that. It's very intense.
Very. And even the when Rahu was in Magha and then went to Ashlesha.
Yeah.
Big time.
That's again big time. Because what is Rahu doing? It's actually moving against the nakshatras. The nakshatras are facing downwards. And imagine if Rahu is actually, because Rahu moves retrograde always,
right.
So it's moving as though it's moving through the mouth of these nakshatras.
Can I ask you, this could be a stupid question, and so I know Rahu and Ketu are always going backwards, retrograde. So, and then in charts, like in my chart, they're retrograde. But is that somebody said that's not everybody's chart? I've never had anybody that has not a retrograde Ketu and Rahu. I don't think I have. Maybe I never paid attention to it.
No, Rahu and Ketu are always retrograde. They're mathematical points that are moving. Yeah.
So that's going to be like that in everybody's chart, right?
Yeah, because see, what is Rahu and Ketu? It's just it's between the sun and the moon. It's a mathematical point based on the earth plane, the sun and the moon.
Right.
So when sun and moon are moving forwards, Rahu and Ketu are moving. The mathematical points are moving backwards, and that's why they're the karmic nodes. They give you a lot of insights about your karmas. And if not for Rahu and Ketu, I don't think there's a purpose for us on this planet.
I agree.
Rahu and Ketu are very key. They give you all the feelings, the emotions that you're going through, and all the events that are panning out. And if there is a word called as hope, that is Rahu. Hope is the word which is connected to Rahu. Desires is Rahu. Without Rahu, I don't think we would have made any technological advancement.
It's funny though, and I've recently ran into a ton of people that have heavy K2 in their charts too, and they're very technology savvy as well.
Yes, because Moon and Ketu, when they come together, it can make you a coder, a software coder.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Moon Ketu. Somehow I've seen Moon
Not
and Ketu.
K2 and Mars. That makes you just a detective. That's what
Mars is also technology. Mars is technology, but coding, software, that has to have some connection with Ketu.
Or coding astrology, or coding.
Coding, yes.
Anything.
Ketu has to be very strong.
Yeah.
Because it's a past life desire that you need to fulfill, especially when Ketu comes in association with moon nakshatras or with Mercury, Saturn, then you'll see that.
So this is the app, and I will say everybody just really needs to get it. It just is what it is. Like if you want to learn, everybody wants to learn nakshatras, this is what you need to get. Period. There's nothing else that's going to teach you better than this. And it's true. Like you just saw all of the things. And sorry, it was a picture I used for your thumbnail. But it is by far what you need to get really for this to understand nakshatras, I think. I mean, personally. And not only that, you can take classes from there if you want readings from any of his team. They're all there. I mean, it's really just a fascinating system, and you can get notifications, you can take notes. And I was doing this when that first came out, to take track like little events. I did that. I mean, I did that for a while until I started doing so many readings. But I mean, the patterns were spot on. I mean, it was just Jesta for certain things where I was real snippy in Jesta. Real like bad moods. Okay. That was my like moody day. Like your emotions, you put in your emotions, how you feel that day. And it's weird because I will say, as strange as this sounds, my 8th house, I feel like all my friends are Geminis, have the heavy Gemini in their chart, especially Ardra. Like my best friend Jenny, who I do all my YouTubes with, her moon's in Ardra. And I think Ardra is sometimes because I get a lot of people with Ardra. And I think with that nakshatra, it's very spiritual. And it's
absolutely
so
100%
intense. But
yes.
It's like, it's intense and spiritual, but if it doesn't know the spiritual side, it'll be confused.
It will be confused, yes.
Very
true.
It's very psychic, though. One
very
of the
psychic
nakshatras, I think.
And many Indian seers, I've seen Indian sage, people who go into spiritual scholars, most of them are Ardra. Yeah. And they could have had, Ardra could have had a difficult childhood. But that is actually the training ground for them to go towards spirituality as well. But then you see, that's also the ground on which it can take you into the other realm. Ardra has got two extremes. Yeah. You can be indoctrinated in a different manner, and you can become a spiritual warrior or a religious warrior in a wrong context, or you can actually use Ardra to spread knowledge and become. And remember, Ardra is that nakshatra which is connected to not returning back, of liberation, because that's Rudra's nakshatra. And even if you see the pyramids, what I understand is there was a secret duct from the mummies, where the mummies were, a secret duct, opening to the sky, and that was going straight to Sirius and Betelgeuse, which is Ardra. So they believe that all the the pharaohs who were mummified, they didn't want to come back. They wanted to liberate, and so the secret duct was always pointing towards the star Sirius, and then when you go further from Sirius, it's Betelgeuse, which is Ardra.
Last thing I would, I just watched your video on Chitra, and I will say, you said the Akashic Records. The last video I just did with a woman who does remote viewing and Akashic Records, like master, got so many planets in Chitra. Like it's her ascendant. She's got, I mean, it was fascinating. But I'm just want you to know that it never fails. I mean,
never fails.
Never. You cannot go wrong with nakshatras. Like there's just no. They go good and bad, and I think sometimes they're construed sometimes because I don't think like all Jesta people are jealous about everything. You know, there's certain people that there's definitely traits that come out of Jesta, but sometimes it can go very nicely too. Just be a protector as well. Like I don't know.
There are certain things also that you learn over a period of time. For example, in one of my consultations, there was a lady who was saying, "Oh, I just keep losing my earrings all the time. One earrings always, I keep losing them, And I said, there are some insecurities about your relationships in your life. Is that true? And she says, yes. When you have insecurities, your earrings, because earrings is connected to Jesta. So Jesta is Indra. Indra also has great amount of insecurities. And that's why he does all those things, because he wants to protect his throne. He wants to protect his position. And losing of earrings can be a sense of deep-rooted insecurities within that person.
Yep.
So themes can keep coming. You can see, I'm seeing so many things. Chitra, I think we have talked in the Chitra video as well. We've seen so many people who are interested in gaming and, playing video games and, other forms of games on social media and all of that. Chitra, so many, people into fashion. Yeah.
Virgo.
In Virgo, yeah. And animated movies. Chitra, I've seen so many people. Chitra is very strongly connected to the Japanese culture. Japanese and Chinese.
Yes, you're right. And like a lot of fashion designers that have like people that make
fashion designers
and stuff.
Handbags, absolutely Chitra.
Yeah.
Very right. Models, fashion.
Even in that, like you said, in like those Asian cultures, for sure. I've noticed that a lot.
You see that with Chitra.
Yeah.
You see, imagine, you're going on a date and you go to a Japanese restaurant. And when you sit there, you look at the way they come, even tea being served there as a ritual in Japan. It's always, serving tea is also, there is a small ritual and it is slowly being served. There's so much of respect, gratitude being given to you. There's a very nice way. So everything is very Chitra type, which means very pictographical or very perfect. And, because Vishwakarma wanted everything to be perfect, his creation to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And these people could, I've seen many a time, some of Chitra natives could also have OCD.
Yes.
Obsessive.
That's for sure. Yes. No, very much so.
So fascinating, Heidi. Thank you very much. This was great. Thank you for having me and for interacting. I think once I start going, I don't know where to stop. So people have to come back.
I could talk to you every day for hours on edge. So I could go all day, all night. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna post all of your links and the app and everything below, and I'm gonna pin the comments. So make sure you get the Cosmic Insights and also subscribe to all of your channels and all of your team's channels. So we'll put all those in there. So thanks so much.